Alright guys, let me tell you something. In marketing, there is one thing that I absolutely hate. It's reporting and making slides. So if you are like me and you hate making slides, you will absolutely love this video and what I'm about to show you guys. Making reports is actually quite simple. You need 4 building blocks: text, charts, table, and images. And I will show you how you can automate that. So let me show you how you can automate text into your Google Slides. So let's create a very simple scorecard as a starting point. So I put a label called impression, and then I create my actual scorecard. I can give the style that I want. It doesn't matter. The style is in your Google slide. We'll just get the data using the automation, but you can use whatever style you want. So this is done. That's perfect. We have our scorecard. Let's go now into Markifact to actually build the automation. So first you create a blank workflow and we'll start adding some triggers. First, we'll use a manual run, and then we need to select our account for Meta. And you will see here that you have a bunch of nodes for Meta, and we will use the select account. Inside the node, we can type the name of our account or just select from the drop-down menu. So I will use this one. Perfect. Now we need to create a node to actually get the data from Meta. So in our case, impression. So I will use the get report node. And here, a little trick for you guys. Instead of manually selecting your account again, you can use a dynamic value using a variable. You can actually link to your previous node that's created for that purpose. So you don't have to manually type again to your account. For the date range, we'll select the past 2 years. And for the metrics, we will select the impressions. There we go. So the first part of the automation to get the data from Meta is actually created. Let's run the automation to see if it's getting some data. There we go, some impression there. That's perfect. So now we need to connect the automation to the Google slide to be able to send that data and update the scorecard. The link to do that is called alternative text. So if you click on your text block, right click, alt text, you can put a description for that specific block of text. So in that case, we're going to name it impression. You can name it whatever you want. It's just going to be used by the automation to locate the block of text that you want to update. Once it's done, let's go back into the automation and we will add a new node, this time a Google slide node, called replace text. First, you gotta select your presentation so the automation knows where to actually change the data. There we go. And we will use not the regular text search, but defined by alternative text. Manual text replacement, and this is where it gets interesting. This is where you tell the automation where to change the data. So you need to put your alternative text of your specific block. So in that case, it's impression. I will put it right there. I will actually type it, impression. And we will replace the content of that block with the impression we got from the previous node. And this is how we can actually send the data to the slides. Additionally, you can add a slide number. This is interesting if you have, for example, the same alternative text on a bunch of slides. If you don't select a specific slide, it will change your metrics on all your pages. So if you want to be very specific to that page, you can put a slide number. I will leave it blank for the moment. So now we have the first part of the automation that gets the data, and then these specific nodes that will update that data in your slide using the alternative text. So let's give it a run and let's see what we get. So it's getting the data and it's pushing it back to the slides. You see here, made one text replacement. Let's go back into the slides and you see that your scorecard is actually updated. This is the key concept to understand how to automate your report. You will see in the rest of the video, we'll use charts, tables, images. We will use the exact same concept. All right, let's go for the second building blocks. I will show you how you can automate tables. That's a very important one. So first, table, insert a table. It's very easy. It's into Google Slide directly. And there you can give some styling to your table to match your brand. So we'll keep it very simple. We will add week in the first column, then we'll add cost, and then we'll ask number of clicks. For the rest of the data, you don't really have to fill in anything. I will just add anything there. It's just to show you that the automation is going to change that anyway. It's just to give the styling. So the table is done. Now let's go back to Markifact to see how we can automate that. To not reinvent the wheel, we will just duplicate and reuse the nodes from the previous workflow. The only thing that we are going to change here is in the get report. So for that specific example, I'm going to use cost, and I'm going to use clicks instead of impression. And I will also add a breakdown here to split the numbers by week. I always run the beginning of my automation to be sure that we capture the data correctly. This is it. We get a week, cost, and volume of clicks. Now I want to send that data automatically into the slides. So on your table in Google Slides, you will right-click, Format option, and you will see that you can also add alt text. We'll call it weekly report, and we'll go back into Markifact to automate that. So we'll add a new node to push that data into Google Slides, and we'll select the node called Update Table. This will allow us to update the actual table in our slides. First, we select the presentation. There we go. And then we have to select the alt text of our table. Go back into Google Slides. It's called Weekly Report. This is what you have to put right there. So the automation knows which table you are talking about and where it needs to put the data. And then table data. What actual data do the automation need to push into your slides? You click on the plus to input dynamic data, get report. And here, instead of selecting only the cost, the clicks, or the week dimension, we are going to select all output. That means that it's going to send all the data into your actual table. Click all output, and I will leave the slide number empty. Let's save, and let's give it a run. We can see that the data is captured, and then it's going to be updated into the table. There you go, updated one table with alt text weekly report. Let's go back into the slides, and you can see that our slides are actually filled in right now. You can change the styling how you want. It doesn't matter. The style doesn't actually matter. The content is going to be pushed anyway. So we have the table, looks pretty good. Another tip I can give you. Here we have the cost. Is it euro? Is it dollar? Is it other currency? How can we quickly fix that? There is a little trick in Markifact to fix that. Let's go back into the automation. In the update table node, in the get report node, in the options at the bottom, you can display a currency symbol. So let's put dollar and rerun the automation. It will do exactly the same, get the data, push it back to the table, and update the table with the dollar sign. And there you go, it's updated. So this is how you can automate tables. You can add plenty of metrics, you can add plenty of dimension and play around with it. It's very, very helpful. The third building block is how you can automate charts. So for this one, there is a little trick. You need to pass the data through a Google Sheet first. Make your chart into Google Sheet and then push it into your slides. So let's go back into Markifact. Previously, I just created an empty sheet into Google Sheet. Let's go back into Markifact. We are going to use the exact same nodes as we used previously. Let's not reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to add here a new node, write data. I'm just going to change here settings to not display any currency. It's going to be easier for the chart. In the write data, we are going to select our Google Sheet that we just created and select one of the working sheet. In my case, this one, which is empty one. Overwrite, starting row 1, use all data, and we are going to select the data from the previous node. So we are going to use all input, all output this time. So we are not selecting cost or clicks, just all the data coming from Meta. There we go, and we save. When we run this automation right now, it's going to get the data from Meta and actually write the data here. See? Once it's done, that's perfect. We are going to work into Google Sheet and insert a chart right there, and we are going to use a combo chart. So we have bars and line. So there we go. We have our chart. Next step, we have to also give alternative text to that specific chart. So you see it's the same for all the building blocks. We have to, the link is the alternative text. So for this one, we'll just call it meta report. And we will just simply copy and paste it into Google Sheet, link to the spreadsheet, obviously. So when we do a modification into Google Sheet, we can update that into the slides. You can actually modify the design of your sheet, right, of your chart right there into Google Sheet. You can change the colors, you can change the font, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Now that we have the chart there into Google Slides, we need to do a final step to be able to update the chart into Google Slide when we change the data into Google Sheet, because the idea is to, for example, run the automation each week or each month. The graph is going to update by itself, but we need to give a little push so it can be updated into the slides. Let's go back into Markifact. We'll add a new node right there called get chart. So it will take the actual chart that we need. We will select our Google Sheet. There we go. We will select the correct working sheet. And then we need to write down the alternative text of that specific chart that we designed. So as a reminder, right click, alt text. It's meta report that we put right there. Let's copy paste that right here, so the automation will know which chart to actually grab. Once it's done, we can add the final node. Which is going to be a Google Slide 1, which is called Add Sheets Chart. So this one, the role of this one is just to update the chart into Google Slides. So we select our presentation. We need to input the alternative text, this one. Just something to show you before I go any further. By default, when you will right click here into Google Slides for the alternative text of this one, you will see that by default, it grabbed the alternate text from Google Sheet. So it's always the same. All right, so you don't need to change it. So we keep the meta report, slide numbers we don't care for the moment. For the spreadsheet ID, sheet ID, and chart ID, it will help the automation know which exact chart to update in your slides. So we'll click here on the plus and select data from the previous node, so spreadsheet ID, sheet ID, and the exact chart ID. So using this, it will know exactly which chart to take from your Google Sheet to update in your Google Slides. This is how it works. So the automation is ready to run. If I run the automation right now, it's not going to change anything because this one is already up to date compared to the data that we have right there. So let's just manually change that. Let's input whatever numbers. There we go. And now I'm going to unlink here, because if I run the entire automation, it will obviously get the data from Meta and change the manual input I have here. This is not what I want to show you. I want to show you how to update the chart. So I will just cut this and this, and I will plug those together. So by running just this one, it will get the latest state of my chart, which is this, and update that in my Google slide. So let's give it a run. It's getting the chart, updating the Google Sheet. There we go, replaced one element. If we go back there, you see that the chart is updated. So now, as a final step, I want to show you the entire flow running. So let's put it back in place. Let's reconnect everything. Okay. So now when I will run that automation, it will get the actual numbers from Meta, update the chart, and update the chart here in the slides. Let me run that for you. It's getting the data, writing the data. You see, updated the data, updating the graph. Now it's updating the actual chart in the slides. And there we go, it's updated. So this is the concept on how you can automate charts in Google Slides. You have to make them through Google Sheet, and you can use whatever type of chart you can have here into Google Sheet. You can make very big, very nice visualization, and just need to use alt text to update them in your Google Slides. So this is the third building block. The fourth building block that we are making today is how to automate images preview in your Google Slides. For example, preview of your meta ads or best performing ads. Let's go back into Markifact and let's build the automation together. We will reuse some of the nodes that we used previously. We will just have to modify the get report. We'll just select cost. For example, here to get the creative that spend the most money. For the dimension, that's very important. We need to select the account ID and the ad ID. So the automation will know which ad to grab. And then we will just put a limit to one ad because we just want the ad that the creative that spend the most money. There we go. Next step is to actually generate a preview link for this one, because right now we cannot do anything. Generate ad previews. We'll select the account. Once again, we use dynamic value and we select the account ID right there, and the ad ID, you can see it right there. For the example, we'll just select the mobile feed standard, so we have a square image. It's going to be easy. So the first node is going to get the ads. The second one is going to generate the ad preview. And to be able to retrieve an actual image, we need to add a final node, which is capture a screenshot, because we are just capturing a screenshot of the ad preview link. As simple as that. So in this specific node, we will have to select the URL, so the ad preview link here. And we just need to change the size. So for this one, it's going to be 200 by 700. And we don't have to change anything. So the screenshot knows exactly where to take a screenshot. Let's give it a run to be sure that everything's working. So it's getting the ad, generating the preview, and then capturing the screenshot. It's going to take a bit of time to take the screenshot. This is totally normal. All right, so you see here we have the actual screenshot of the ad with the copy and everything. Now we need to send that back into our slides. Let's go back into Google Slide. What we have to do right now is just to add a placeholder so we can send the image to that specific placeholder. So I will make a square. And here it doesn't matter the style of the placeholder, it's going to be replaced by your image anyway. So what you got to do now, it's the exact same concept of the previous blocks. It's adding an alt text to that specific element so we can change it later with the automation. So we'll do a right click, format option, and here, let's call it a screenshot. So the idea is that we are going to replace that placeholder with the image that we just have in the automation. So let's go back to Markifact. We have to add a final node, which is going to be change the image, update element alt text. No, sorry, the add image. Here we are selecting our presentation. Data source, single image, this is correct. Find shapes by text content, no, we are going to find shapes by alternative text. The image URL, we are going to select here screenshot URL, so the automation knows where to grab the image URL to put it in your slides. And then the text to find, the alternative text, so the automation knows where to put that image. This is what we have here, screenshot. Let's go back into the automation and we will leave the slide number empty for now. So let's run the entire automation once again. There we go. The screenshot has been added to the slides. Let's double check it. You can see here the image is actually in our slides. Perfect. So this is how you can automate image input into Google Slides automatically using alt text. Now that we have covered the 4 building blocks, I want to show you a little secret. If you remember, we created that automated table with some numbers in there. But what if we want to automate comments? So actually have the AI commenting those numbers. We can totally do that with Markifact. So in that section, I will show you how to exactly do that. Let's first go back into Markifact and let's build our AI system that will analyze the data. So if you remember, that's the exact workflow that we used. We are going to unlink this and we are just going to plug an AI node right there. So we will use the Ask AI. And we'll ask AI to compare the 2 weeks of data that we have. So in the prompt, first thing, I'm going to give the data to the AI to analyze. So I would link to the dynamic data from the report and I will give him all the output. So he will have the week, the cost and the clicks for both weeks and he will be able to analyze that data. And then I need to prompt. I need to tell him what to do. I will just ask him to compare those 2 weeks of data, share a concise summary, maximum 2 points, only reply with takeaways. Okay, so we will make an analysis. Regarding the model, we don't need a breathtaking model. We're just using a very small model like 03 minutes, more than enough for those kind of very small analysis. And we'll run the automation to see what the AI is come up with. So obviously the AI has no clue about why you did some changes in your campaign, but it will be able to comment what it sees in your table. So we run the AI, it's getting the report, so the data is sent to the AI for analysis. And the AI is getting an answer. Earlier week shows strategy focus on heavier investment with strong audience engagement. In later week reflects a more conservative, efficiency-driven tactic. So when we have a look at the results, kind of match. First week we spend more, get more clicks. Second week spend less, get less click. As mentioned, the AI doesn't have the context. So if you want the AI comments to be really good, you need to give the context. Why did you spend more in the first week? What happened on the second week? By default, the AI won't know. So let's not judge the accuracy of the comment. Let's just see that the AI is actually able to comment your data. And now, how can you actually put that comment into your slides automatically? Let's add a text box. And this is where AI comment will come. Right click, remember, alternative text, AI comment. Let's go back into Markifact. Let's plug a little node right there. So we'll use the replace text. Select the presentation URL as always. All right. We will use not the regular text search, but the alternative text, manual replacement, and we'll tell where the automation needs to replace the text. If you remember, it is your alt text, so AI comment. Let's go back into the automation, up. And what kind of text does it need to input or AI comments, the response of the AI. Okay, so let's save and let's run it. So we send again to the AI for analysis, so you will see that the comments will probably slightly change. This is AI. And then it will be sent to the Google slide. Let's wait a second. Replacement done. Let's have a look. There you go. You have the AI generated comments directly into your slides. Earlier period showed more engagement. Transition suggests strategic adjustment, which matches what we see in the data. So there you go. This is how you can create AI comments and, more importantly, automate that directly into your Google slides. So with those different building blocks, just imagine the possibilities that you have. To wrap up this session, I will finish by showing you a very detailed report that was built on Markifact. So you can have plenty of different tables. You can have data coming from a lot of different platforms. You can have big tables. You can have different type of charts. You can have only as much as you can imagine. All the data that you can get from the marketing platform, you can transform them and put them into slides automatically. And you can generate your entire slides with AI generated comments. So this is really game changer for reporting. So the entire report that I'm showing you here, nothing is human input. Everything is automation and everything is AI comment. So this is the kind of stuff that you can create with Markifact, but they are built on the 4 building blocks I just showed in that session. It looks complex, but it's actually the exact same building blocks. So take time, dive into it, test it, and you can make a very, very good report, fully automated. So next month, it will take just minutes to make you slides. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. I hope this video was very useful to you and that you can use that in your next reporting to make it fully automated. If you want, there is a couple of templates that you can find in the Markifact templates gallery. I see you in the next video. Happy automating.